first. Right. So, just looking, let's have a look at C2 for this. So I'm going to do x squared minus 6x plus 5. All right. Now, the way that these worksheets built up is they really only asked you to consider that bit first, yeah? And that's because we do base everything still around that part. So that part determines my brackets, which is x minus 3 squared, right? I know x minus 3 squared will give me the x squared minus 6x bit. All right, but as I do over here, if I now work out what that equals, that is equivalent to x squared minus 6x, which is great, and I end up with a plus 9. Now, in previous examples, we just subtracted that 9 because we didn't need it. However, now it's not that we don't need it at all, we need to leave 5. So we don't subtract the whole thing, we need to subtract 4 to make 5, okay? So I'm going to just need to be careful with those. But that equals that, so to complete the square, to get, I've got plus 9, I want plus 5, so I have to subtract the 4. Alright, all good? Alright, just one more of those then, so C4, we've got x squared minus 4x plus 20. Okay, take this bit, that gives me x minus 2 all squared. Take that over here, x minus 2 all squared is exactly the same as x squared minus 4x, which is good, but plus 16. Now I'm at plus 16, but I need to be at plus 20, so I actually need to add 4. All right, so that's just an important one, just to show you that we don't always subtract to complete the square. Sometimes we can add. All right, just picking up on one thing as well, by the way, in the brackets, quite a lot of these have been x minus something, but it's determined by what that middle term is. It can be x plus or x minus. You take the number here, minus 6 minus 4, you divide that by 2. So if that's plus 6 or plus 4, it's going to be, guys, I'm trying to see, I know you're discussing the work, but time and place. Okay. Now is the chance to ask any questions. Okay. So just moving on, the D's. The D's introduce another thing, which is when the coefficient of x squared is no longer 1. So I'll start with the basics again. So we've got 2x squared plus 8x. Now, the important thing about the vertex form, the completing the square, is you can't do it in the way that we've been doing it if the coefficient of x squared, here it's a 2, if that is anything other than 1, we can't do it without doing something else first. So what we do is we do something you've done before, which is we actually write it in another form first and we factorise it. Is there a common factor that would leave me with just 1x squared? What is it? 2. So I'm actually going to write that as 2 lots of x squared plus 4x. Right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to focus my attention on that only, yeah? But I'm not going to not write the 2. The 2 doesn't just disappear. It must stay there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 2, I'm going to put it over. This is just my technique. Nice big brackets. And then in this space, I'm going to work with this. So what does that become? That becomes x plus 2 squared. Yeah? Over here, x plus 2 squared would equal x squared plus 4x, but plus 4. So what do I need to do? Subtract. I've got plus 4. Subtract 4. Okay? So what I've done is I've dealt with only that bit. That bit becomes that. But the 2 is still there outside of those original brackets. Alright? What do I do now? Well, now I reintroduce that 2, and it becomes 2 lots of x plus 2 squared minus 8. Yep.
Can you just leave it as the one above it?
No. I'll tell you why, because in the question it says you must write it in the form a times x plus b squared plus c. Also, don't forget why we're writing vertex form. Why are we writing vertex form? To find the vertex. What's the vertex when it's like this? Minus 2 minus 8. What's the vertex if I leave it in that? What would you say? Would you incorrectly say minus 2 minus 4? Yeah? So we want it in that final form so that we can actually use vertex form. Any more questions on that one? Should I do another one? Yeah. Okay. I'll leave you D2 because that's another one at this level. Let's look at D3. So we've got 3x squared plus 12x minus 6. So we can't deal with this as it is. So what do we have to divide through by? 3. So let's take the 3 out. It has to be that number because I have to have 1x squared. So that does leave me with x squared. What else?
6.
Oh, plus 4x because we're dividing by 3, yeah? And minus.
We were dividing by 3.
We're dividing all of these numbers by 3. We're factorizing, yeah, like we did weeks, months ago. So then it becomes minus 2. Yeah? 3 times x squared gives me 3x squared. 3 times 4x gives me 12x. 3 times negative 2 gives me negative 6. Okay, so I've taken that. Now, some of you are going to be like, but what if the following numbers don't divide by 3? We do have a fraction. Yeah. Every number divides by every number. If we write it by a fraction, if we start writing decimals, we might be in trouble. So that's why I wanted you to work with fractions. Yes. What do we do now? We just focus our attention on this middle bit, yeah? So what does that become? X plus 2 squared. Over here, x plus 2 squared is equivalent to, well, we've already done it up there, x squared plus 4x plus 4, right? We've got plus 4, but I want minus 2, so what do I do?
Minus 6.
Subtract the 6. Yeah? Now I have to bring that 3 back into play, so it becomes 3 times all of that gives me 3 times x plus 2 squared. We don't have to do anything else. And it's 3 times negative 6 is?
9. Sorry.
Negative
18.
18. Yeah.
Right. No.
So, Really, step one, if you like writing your steps out, take that factor out. Step two, do what you've just been doing with the bit inside the bracket. Step three, put that factor back in to the other part.
You get the x plus 2.
Same way you've been doing it for 2 lessons. It's x squared plus 4x. Yeah? We're building it up step by step. We're not. Does that all make sense? Yeah? Okay. That gives you D3, D4 to do for yourself.